Hey guys, welcome to our channel, and today we're going to be talking about the skill of public speaking.
Hey guys, so my name is Scott Dennis. I'm an entrepreneur and I will also be helping Alex on this video. Some of the objectives that we're going to be covering today are the fundamentals of public speaking, some of the skills that you're going to need to effectively public speak, and as well how to find the confidence to deliver these speeches in an effective manner.
Okay, so what is public speaking? It is the art of delivering a message or information in front of a live audience. So examples of public speaking include giving speech, conducting a presentation, or leading a meeting. Public speaking is important in many professions as it is a communication skill that you can use for personal development or growth.
So now we're going to talk about where to start with public speaking, because obviously public speaking is a really big and complicated topic that a lot of people just aren't comfortable, or understand. And so, there's a lot that goes into planning and organizing a speech. A couple on the screen that we've identified are, number one, obviously identifying the purpose and the audience for your speech. So, it's really important that you understand what is the context that you're in. What are you trying to achieve with that speech in the first place? But number two, what is the person, and then how can you tailor what you're trying to achieve that's going to allow that individual or group of people to better understand with their just communication styles. Ways you can kind of help do that by are through outlining and organizing your ideas. So, again, some people prefer writing a full script out. Some people just write down bullet points. Just at least having some sort of outline of what you're trying to come across and your main ideas. Additionally, having some visual aids and props are really useful tools that allow you to communicate things in more than just the verbal context, which is another really kind of value-added way that you can kind of make your speeches much more impactful and memorable. You can also use examples and stories. Stories are a really powerful way of conveying your speech and your ideas, and it comes off very authentic, especially if it's not a planned story and you're just being off the cuff with it. Those can be very powerful and kind of break the ice when it comes to the people you're trying to present to. And lastly, humor is a really good one where, again, breaking that ice, so to speak, where again you can break the tension and allow the audience to have that breathe, and then after that joke you can kind of go back to those important points and then kind of really allows it to sink in without overloading them with information. So next is preparation. As anyone knows with any sort of assignment or any type of work, preparation is key to execution, and that is especially true when it comes to public speaking, as when you're in the moment, which public speaking is. You want to make sure you know what you're going to be saying and not just doing everything first try without having any preparation. So three kind of keys to preparation. Number one is understanding the purpose of your speech and defining your main objective, as well as tailoring it to achieve that. So again, similar to the last slide, as I was talking about, again, understanding what are you trying to accomplish with your speech, that needs to come first. So, whatever context it is, that comes second, but number one, what is your ultimate goal? What do you want to achieve with your speech? And then following that is, okay, now that I know what I want to achieve, how can I get it transmitted properly? How do I get it communicated properly? That's when you go to step two, which is knowing your audience. So doing some background research and really understanding their interests, preferences, and where the knowledge level is at. If you think about what a speech would look like for a classroom of students versus, at Parliament Hill, these are very different things. And even those contexts, is this a more serious presentation? Is this a more fun presentation? Is this a presentation about just being open and informal? Is this a very formal presentation? What is matching your context, and what will your people most easily gravitate to? And then lastly is just practice, simply rehearsing it and doing it many times over to the point where you can feel comfortable. And it's not as much as memorizing everything, but as much as just being familiar with what you want to say and some key ways you can keenly hit those key notes. So, personally, when I do public speaking, there's at least a few points that I know I want to memorize and the words around them, like really memorizing them. But how I get between the points, I usually let that kind of flow naturally. And, it depends on how you want to do it, but as long as there's some sort of practice and okay, here's what I want to be saying, and you've practiced that, you're on the right track.
So overcoming the fear of public speaking. So public speaking can be very, very scary due to either the fear of failure, being judged, or even just an overall lack of confidence in yourself. I totally get it. It's really scary. So here are some tips to kind of overcome public speaking anxiety. So preparation, practice, Start off in a smaller group and then kind of work your way up. Do it with peers that can give you advice and critiques on kind of what's going on. And visualize your success. Imagine yourself having a successful speech and having a positive outcome, whether it's for a competition or a business event. It doesn't matter what it's for, just you want it to go good. So you want the good vibes out there. And just breathe. Take breaths, pauses, just to kind of calm yourselves and kind of break up your speech as well. And then focus on the message that you're trying to convey. Concentrate on that rather than how stressed out you are, and just remember that your audience is here to listen to you and to hear what you want to say, and they're excited. So just kind of embrace the excitement.
Next, we're going to talk about delivery techniques. So we kind of understood now what is kind of the foundation to public speaking, talk about some of the principles and some ways to kind of get over those anxious feelings, which is a common issue with public speaking. Now we're going to talk about what is the best way to deliver public speeches and speeches in general. So number one is eye contact and gestures, i.e. body language. So when you're talking, people aren't just listening, they're looking at you. And so you need to make sure that you're looking at them and you're being involved with your hands and you're opening your body in a sense, in a way that, looks like you're being confident and you know what you're talking about. Even if you don't, learning the strategies and the ways that you can mimic that you do know what you're talking about, and that gets even more enhanced when you really do know what you're talking about and you're authentic about it. Those are when the best speeches occur. Next is varying tone, pace, volume, and clarity. So we just talked about the physical. Now let's talk about the audio, which is what you're actually talking. It's the talking part, And again, another way where you can show off that confidence in your research and your belief behind what you're trying to do with your speech. Understanding and having control over the pitch and the volume of your voice to put emphasis on points and create tension and dramatic scenes is really important, and not just for regular public speaking, but for any type of talking and verbal communication. Next is engaging and maintaining the attention of the audience. So again, both of these kind of feed into this point in terms of, again, how can I engage the audience and make it seem that what I'm talking about, I know what I'm talking about, it's worth you listening, and more than that, really engaging and being a part of the conversation instead of just being a speech. And those where the powerful speeches come in, where although they are directly talking to everyone, it does still feel like a conversation and you're nodding your head and you're right with them, and it's a very engaging conversation. And lastly is to just be yourself, like that is one of the biggest things that I've learned with public speaking in terms of the best moments are when you're just off the cuff and you're being yourself and you're not trying to fit the script, and it comes with practice, again, like we've been nailing into in terms of just practice. The more you do it, the easier it gets, and it allows you to say more than you're even intending to say. And it kind of hits, again, those verbal and physical cues. They just kind of come naturally when you're authentically telling these stories. And it's just a really effective way where you can deliver the messages that you're trying to deliver.
So rehearsing and practice, we've been kind of talking about this a lot, but what does it look like? So you want to get feedback from a group of people that understand the message that you're trying to convey. We've talked about overcoming stage fright and nervousness, but you want to get comfortable with the environment that you're going to perform in and use the resources that you're going to have available for you. So if you're going to be speaking with a microphone and you've never used a microphone before, practice with it, or with a podium too. And just in general, practicing around a lot of people gets you kind of more comfortable in the environment to prepare you for what's to come.
So next we're going to talk about exercises, which really means essentially what are the adjustments you're going to make now that you've gotten that critical feedback. And as well, just before we get into this, it's really important to note that having that feedback is really, really important, but making the adjustments from that feedback is the reason why you wanted feedback in the first place. So make sure you're paying attention to both. So firstly is, you want to actually give that speech, get that feedback. That's the first thing you want to do. Have that actual practice. That's essentially the first exercise where you can get that initial, immediate, on the spot feedback, that quick responsiveness that will be very, automatic. And beyond that, you want to start talking about Q&A sessions and having people ask you questions about your pitch and your speech or whatever it is that you're doing. And what the real value in Q&A is, it gets you prepared for things that you're not prepared for, because you don't know what they're going to ask, and as much as you may be able to prepare for every question under the sun, there's almost guaranteed at least one question that you won't be prepared for, and it gets you back into that free flowing mindset where you're able to kind of just talk about whatever you need to talk about and just let it come out naturally without having that script. You know, and Q&A is a really important way where, again, you can both start to identify the strong and weak points of your speech. You can start preparing around things that you maybe didn't think about preparing for. And number three, is at the end of the day, you probably will get questions about your speech or presentation. And so, you know, why not practice those two like you've been practicing your speech itself? And lastly is a debrief and reflection on the experience, and this one as well, just as important as the other ones, where, you know, you've done all this work in preparation and you delivered your speech and it was great and you answered all the questions flawlessly, but now you want to look back and say, okay, was it perfect? Was there room for improvement? If it was perfect, what did I do very well this time? How can I replicate that? If there's things that I did wrong, how can I improve that? You know, and the old adage goes, like, you know, there's always room for improvement. And so, you know, you always want to have that growth mindset and be focused on, okay, although maybe I smashed out of the park, how do I take it to the next level, the next gear, whether that is just more maintenance or actually improving your speech.
Okay, and lastly, you're gonna present it. Oh my gosh, all this hard work has come to finally actually doing it. So after you've put it all together and completed it, you want to do another debrief to make sure, once again, what did I do good, what did I do bad, what are some things that we can take into next time or not take into next time, and make those adjustments as needed. Alright guys, and that's it. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stay tuned for next time.